Quick disclaimer, if the game's not on sale in your region, you'll know because the price will say NA next to it. First up, GG's to Paul Bunt, you've won a free game this week. Send us an email and we'll get you something over. Alright, hi everyone, welcome back to SwitchUp and to the video where we look at the best sales each week. Now I'm quite pleased, I think I've managed to dig out like 3 hidden gems at the end of this video, or certainly games that I haven't seen talked about a lot. They're ones that I've picked up myself and have enjoyed playing, but they're rarely on sale. If you want to join Paul Bunt, just leave your normal comments down below and we'll pick one out and you can be the winner next week. And as always, you can still save 10% using code SwitchUp over at switchup.gg, so you can get your eShop vouchers. I know loads of you do it already and save 10% on all your Switch games on the eShop, and it gets a tiny little kickback back to us, so we really appreciate the support. What are the best games on sale this week? Well, let's find out. First up then, a lot of the Bethesda games are on sale. You've got Doom Eternal, Wolfenstein 2, pretty much all the Doom games are, but they're only on sale for about another day. Now I did want to mention Wolfenstein 2 because it's £6.99, which is a ridiculously good price. It features motion controls, which is a nice touch, and it's a very good story featuring BJ Blazkowicz. BJ Blazkowicz? Man, that's a difficult name to say. Either way, I was a bit disappointed when the series went in the direction it did. I would love to see some kind of renaissance really of this character. I'd even take a prequel. Brilliant game though, excellent characters, good shooting mechanics, and for £6.99 that is just wow. Yeah, definitely worth it. But if you're watching this on Tuesday, unfortunately the sale will be over. Then one of the greatest games on Switch, it's Slay the Spire. It's currently £7.99, which does match its cheapest ever price until August the 25th at 60% off. And every time I mention it, there's someone in the comments that says, I've been putting it off, go on, I'll give it a go. And then they come back the next week and they're like, I haven't slept, Walker. I haven't eaten. All I've done is play Slay the Spire. It is that damn good. Why is it so good? It's the balance of its deck building, which honestly, I didn't really like deck building games before this. It's combat, the ambience, the addictive gameplay loop that it provides, and its replayability. It just nails every aspect that makes a game actually fun. So, you know, you could look at this and say, oh, it doesn't look great, and you'll always get one person in the comments, it looks like a mobile game. Well, it doesn't really matter what it looks like, it's what it plays like, and this plays incredibly well. Now, there are some full reviews of this one online. It's only 540 megs, and you won't be disappointed. Brilliant game. Next up then, and the delicious last course, which is the DLC of Cuphead, I think is the highest score I've ever given on the channel. It's just that damn refined, it's so good. Now if you just want to buy Cuphead on its own, it's 30% off, down to £11.89 or your regional equivalent until the 28th. But I figured, I mean, if you're going to get that, you might as well get with the DLC, which is £17.79. It can be played solo or with a friend in local co-op, and it very, very rarely goes on sale. In fact, I think, I could be wrong, but I think this might be the first time it's ever gone on sale. Certainly this pack, because it didn't exist before. Cuphead's had a few sales to be fair, but yeah, getting these two together, I'd say it's the way to go. There's run and gun sections, some brutal boss fights. Yes, it's difficult, but I will say that the DLC adds a character that makes the whole game easier. So yeah, there's that. This one's, as I say, on sale until August the 28th, and it's a modest 4.8GB download. Next up then, we've got a pick that I took from one of Glen's videos where he did the best beat 'em ups on Switch, and he really enjoyed the Takeover. Now it wasn't perfect, it had a few late game annoyances, I guess you could say, with some cheap deaths and things like that, but generally it was a very fun 90s style side-scrolling beat 'em up, in the vein of like Final Fight. And it's currently 80% off, down to £3.59. We're really getting towards like Steam style sales now, aren't we? And I'm down for that. I'm down for it as long as Nintendo don't shut the eShop down and we lose all of these games. I mean, I know that's potentially one day an inevitability, isn't it? But, you know, give me a good 5 years of it and I'll be alright. And the fact that you can't buy half of these games physically means it's kind of your only choice. But if you're going to do that, you might as well buy them cheaply. Now, this one's only 2 gigs. You're looking at 1 or 2 player offline. And if you're a beat 'em up fan, I think you'll enjoy it. Certainly a Barjan, but a little bit more expensive than a Savoy. Now, I know I can't stop banging on about it, and yes, I know I've said it many times, but I've been working through Xenoblade 3. It's in my top 3 games of all time. It's incredible. You don't need to have finished number 2 to enjoy this one, because I'm not going to lie, I didn't. But it's just an amazing game. Every aspect of it I'm loving. But Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana is probably one of the RPGs other than Dragon Quest XI's that I've really connected with. I know most people have played it now, and the visuals aren't great. It looks a bit blurry from time to time, but the core gameplay is great. The combat's really nice, action combat. The cast of characters are brilliant, and there are some really emotive moments. Plus, it has dinosaurs, which automatically makes any game better. This sale is 50% off until August the 31st. Subnautica and Subnautica Below Zero can actually be purchased together in a double pack at the moment at 40% off, but I'm not really sure, why you would do that, because that's £29.85 when you can buy them individually for 25 quid. So they're £12.49 each at the moment at 50% off. So yeah, that's some silly pricing right there. If you haven't played them, pick up the first game. Really enjoyable survival. It's not a survival horror, it's a survival thriller. Under the seas, you can build your base up, you can create submarines and heading down to the depths, and if you go too deep, like the glass starts to crack and stuff. It's super tense. Now the sequel was in an Arctic tundra. It was a much more frozen part of this planet, and I like them both, but as I say, pick up the first one if you haven't played them before. You're looking at about 30 to 50 hours of gameplay, some nice mechanics, interesting storyline, and the sale that goes on until the 25th of August. Next up then, from our pals over at PCube, whose office is literally like 5 minutes down the road from where I live, is Tormented Souls. Now this is an old school survival horror, and it's down to its lowest ever price at just £14.44 until August the 28th. Now Glen did a video of this one. We actually worked with them to kind of create a sponsored video before launch. The game did have one bug that we reported to those guys, that essentially, yeah, it was either a crash or a save issue, something like that they've fixed since. But yeah, Glen really enjoyed it. I mean, he is a huge horror fan. I hate horror, really. Well, yeah, I don't like it. I'm not a fan of horror, not in films. In games like this, survival horror, I can kind of take it, but yeah, this is one of the better ones on Switch. There's different puzzles to solve. There is combat here as well, and it's all set around a place called Winter Lake, I believe, while you're investigating the disappearance of twin girls. And it says in the blurb that something terrible happens to Caroline Walker. I hope that's not a relative of mine. Man. Alright, this one sale until August the 28th, and it's 8.6GB download. And that then takes us on to 3 games that I think you could class as hidden gems. The first one is going to be niche. On this channel I always talk about loading games. If you don't know what a loading game is, it's essentially something that you pick up and play every time you open your Switch, and it just helps you to kind of clear your head and decide what you're actually going to spend a chunk of time in, Very often you can open your Switch or your tablet or your phone or whatever it is, and you just end up scrolling through your apps or your games, and you don't ever actually achieve anything. I don't know if anyone else has that problem, but I certainly do. And WRITHE is a really good game for just kind of resetting your brain. It has essentially a horde mode that sees you fighting off these hideous bugs. Now the visuals aren't anything to write home about, but in terms of gameplay, it's just one of those you can jump into, you instantly understand the controls, you instantly understand the premise, and it's super addictive trying to beat your high scores. Now this is a 1.6GB download, a very, very small indie dev team, and it's really nice to be able to finally, put something out about it. So that one is only £3.19. Man, you get like a bangers and mash for that at a cafe. Why do I keep comparing games to food? Who knows? Right, let's move on. Alright, next up then, if you're a fan of experiential games, so essentially walking simulators, but with a little bit more to them, so some very rudimentary puzzling, a tiny bit of platforming, but it's all about that atmosphere, the music, the visual, then you're going to enjoy Voyage. Voyage is 20% off at the moment, all the way until September the 1st, taking it to £9.59. Now, it's not a very long game. You're looking at about 2 to 3, maybe 4 hours, but it's just been so chilled out. You can play it with a friend as well, so you can 2 of you with a controller each, working in co-op. You have to push blocks together, help each other up ledges. There's no combat. It has an amazing musical score by Callum Bowen. It's the same guy that did Snipper Clips, Pikaniku, and A Lovely Planet, and yeah, it's an artistic Like, it really is a piece of art, this one. If you're after something super chill, then this would be a nice little choice, but just don't go in expecting a challenging experience, because that's not what this is about. Last but not least then, final hidden gem. I mean, those two were unofficial hidden gems. We've got Crying Suns. I'm a big strategy game fan, and on Switch, we haven't got a huge amount, honestly. But there are a few little gems here and there, and I think Crying Suns is one of them. It's space-based, so it instantly gets a tick in my book, and there's over 300 different story events that you can encounter. The fights themselves are tactical ones, where you're commanding your battleships and your squadron, and they're surprisingly in-depth. They control okay on the Switch. It's not as good as on the PC where I originally played the game, but it's fine. It does a few nice little quality of life things, like having the prompts on screen for the switch buttons and things like that, to keep your brain kind of, focused on what you need to do next. And it has a good atmosphere. It also has a really nice soundtrack. Now, it's only 531 megs, quite different to a lot of the picks that we've had recently. It's only £11.69, that's 40% off until August the 25th. Alright, let's quickly look at the games that are still on sale from last week's video. In case you forgot, you've got Void Bastards, the deluxe edition, which is 60% off. Really enjoyable, space-based roguelite adventure where you're moving from ship to ship, first-person shooting, building up your gear, crafting new components. Well, not crafting, you unlock them, and it's just a great game. Really enjoyed it. That one is currently, I think, 60% off, £9.99. Then you've got BioShock Infinite and the other BioShock games, 60% off. That sale goes on until August the 24th. Incredible game, the cheapest it's ever been at £6.39. And last week's hidden gem, Unsighted, brilliant top-down adventure, 30% off, taking it down to £12.59 until August the 25th. Yeah, really good one this. Didn't start very well, but it gets much better. And then we've got an Avoid, and it's just one Avoid this week. And it's an interesting one because it was mentioned in our Interesting Games video. And I did say in that video that I'd only played the first couple of hours and I was really enjoying it. And I was like, yeah, I'm really enjoying it, but I've only played the first couple of hours. Go and check out reviews. Now, I've completed it since then. And the thing with these types of games, walking simulators, first person, kind of tense, adventures, things like Firewatch, is they all hinge on how the story is concluded. Like your experience, you have that final taste in your mouth. And even with Firewatch, which was great, the ending for me, it wasn't great, but still the whole experience was worthwhile. With this one, it really just, the pacing isn't right. From about the mid to the end point, the pacing just isn't right. You're walking around the hotel and it gets a bit odd, but then it ends on such a bad note. I'm sorry, I don't want to spoil it. I guess if you've already completed it, then you know how bad the ending is. But if you haven't, well, I'm telling you to avoid it. Maybe you'll go out and buy it just to see, but it's so bad. You're like, it makes no sense. You know, when they've created a character in a game and you're like, okay, I understand this person, and then they do something so ridiculous just because the developers thought to themselves, well, how can we end it? And they had two options. One of them was like, we'll say it's all a dream. And the other one was like, well, we'll just do what they do in this game. And it just doesn't make sense for the character they've created. And it actually annoyed me. I was like, no, this is stupid. And then the credits rolled. I was like, no, come on now. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. It plays loosely with some weird ideas as well. Yeah, I mean, you'll see. Well, you won't see. Go watch a playthrough. I'd say it's probably a better one to watch a playthrough of on YouTube. So yeah, that's my rant over. With these, we like to give an alternative. So what is an alternative? Well, probably, honestly, the Voyage game that I've already recommended in this video. But as far as being an alternative in the very similar style, Firewatch. Firewatch is a great game. Annoyingly, it hasn't had any patches since it launched. Performance can sometimes be a bit iffy, but in this style of game, it doesn't make a huge difference. I'd stick Firewatch on your wish list. It's a brilliant game. Absolute classic. And that's it for this week. As I say, do save 10% on any of these if you want to, using code SwitchUp over at switchup.gg to buy your eShop vouchers. Thanks to all of you that enjoy the content, and once again, just a congrats to the person who won the free game this week. If you want to join them, leave your comments and make sure you like a couple of other comments so that the best ones go up and we actually get to see them. To all of you, have a lovely Sunday. I hope your week starts really well next week. Your Sunday ritual is completed. Cheers, guys. Oh, do you know what? I met someone earlier on while I was riding my electric unicycle. Don't ask. And he was like, "What do you do?" And I said about the channel, and he was like, "Oh, that's brilliant. Like my dream job. What's the channel?" And it turns out he's a subscriber. So hello to that guy. I won't say your name for, privacy reasons, but it was really nice to meet you. For all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers, guys. See ya.